seated. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good afternoon. We have any persons wishing to address the board? Vicki, thank you. Can I get an approval of the minutes of the December 6th meeting, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Can I get approval of the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. I didn't see any conflicts of interest. Skip that. Can I get approval of the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, moving on to the reports of the president.
President Parker, members of the board, Happy New Year. Another round. I am Craig Peters, Dean of Curriculum and Instruction as of today, and I get to introduce our story. And today we have two program areas. In our information technology, we have networking, and then we have our computer programming. Thank you.
President Parker, members of the board, my name is Todd Woolwind. I'm the lead instructor for the CIS Information Technology Department at Southeast Tech. And we just want to take a few minutes and talk about our department, give you our story. Again, my name is Todd Woolwind. I've been at Southeast Tech for about 20 years. I started at SDSU, worked there for quite a while. I received my master's in industrial management and several certifications in IT.
My name is Merrill Pepper. I've been at Southeast for about 20 years. I'm Cisco CCNA trained. I worked at Gateway for about 3 years, Connecting Point for a year before Gateway, and my area is network administration.
My name is Ken Schaefer. I'm actually an instructor here for about 9 years now. I originally started as a part-timer here. I'm a former graduate of Southeast Tech. I'm the primary security program advisor. Some of my qualifications, I do have extensive training in VMware and Red Hat Linux. I do possess a Bachelor's of Science in Network and System Administration, as well as associates of the same from Southeast Tech. And we're going to kind of introduce our program here for you today. We do have one diploma, and then we do have 3 individual degree paths that do follow into that. So we have our computer technician, network administrator, system administrator, and information technology security. We'll kind of break those down a little bit here. Computer technician, all 4 of our degree paths, well, our 3 degrees and our diploma, start off by the same base for the entire first year, where basically they're learning about their operating systems, basic hardware, and networking, some troubleshooting skills as well. So the first year, we gather a lot of their basic skill set. After the entire first year, they can go out there and get their computer technician diploma if they wish, or they can continue on and go into one of our other different degree paths.
One of our degrees is network administration. I'm the main instructor for that. Basically, we follow a national certification called CCNA, Cisco Certified Network Associate. And what the students learn to do is how to make cables, how to run cables, how to program routers and switches, which probably doesn't mean anything to you at all. But basically, if you go in a building, you see the wires running, they do that. But not only do the wires have to run, they have to interconnect with devices that route the traffic to different places. So if you are sending to an email, it would go to an email server maybe, or if you're going to the internet, it would go to the internet. There's some implied security with that also, which means that they can allow or deny traffic as they wish. And we have a full evening program for that too. We call it our night cohort. So that's based for more of the non-trad student who is working 30, 40 hours a week, wants to come back, get their degree, or their job says, hey, you need to have a degree, so why don't you go get one? And we've been running that, I couldn't tell you how long, maybe 10 years or more. It's been very successful. They like that ability to maybe take 3 years or 3.5 years to get a degree. They don't take a full load during the semester, because that'd be almost impossible with a 40-hour work week. So it's advantageous that we're serving the community of people who are working already and need to get a degree, or don't want to quit their job because they can't afford to, so they can get a degree at night also.
The next degree path we have to offer is the system administrator, and that person typically is the person who's putting the traffic on the cabling that Merrill's people built. They deal with the servers that serve out the information, web servers and content like that, email servers. So they're more in front of the PCs, and they're working with users and user rights and logins and passwords and that type of stuff.
On information technology security, now we're kind of taking what these guys have built with the networks here. They've set up the network, they've set up the systems. We're taking a look at everything now, doing our audits, looking at all the security policies, those wonderful password policies I'm sure a lot of you have to deal with on a daily basis. We actually take a look at those, we write those in. We take a look at server security, firewalls. Security is just plain simple huge this day and age, big buzzword. Take a look at backups. A lot of policy writing and risk assessments. We do a lot of training with our students to show them what kind of risks there are out there. Obviously, there's new ones every single day. So we try to stay ahead as much as we can, even though that's impossible, but we do a pretty good job at that.
In our department, we have what we call the 80-20 rule. About 80% of what the students do are hands-on based activities, and the 20% of being instruction direction. So they do have a lot of lab time. Much of it also they can do at home on their laptops in a virtual environment. So it's a pretty neat environment.
Okay. As with all of our programs at Southeast Tech, we have an advisory board, and as you can see on the screen, some of the businesses where our advisory board members work. We even have some kind of floating advisory board members. One's in Oregon some days, sometimes he's in Phoenix, sometimes he's in New Orleans, whatever. And some of the other people that we use that don't necessarily come to campus, but we can bounce ideas off. And basically, this is how we guide our curriculum. So 6-7 years ago, we didn't teach VMware, virtualization. They came in and said, hey, this is a new thing. We're going to be using it. You need to have your students learn this so when they get out, we can employ them and they know what they're doing. Again, you can see all those. Some of our advisory board members are graduates of Southeast Tech also. They've been out there 10, 15 years working, and what better to have someone come back who's sat in the seat of the students, remembers what it's like, but knows the latest technology. So the three of us don't just pick a curriculum out of the sky and say, hey, let's teach that, that would be good. All of our curricula are tied to a national certification. So, for example, in mine, it would be the CCNA certification. Todd's would be a Red Hat certification. We have Windows certifications. But again, those things changes, and who better to have a board of experts who do this day in and day out. So we don't sit in an ivory tower and talk about nothing. We have people kind of guide us what we should do. And again, where are our jobs located? All around Sioux Falls, all around the country, actually. I mean, we have people in Texas, we have people in California, we have people in Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, I'm not sure about North Dakota, California, one in Oregon now. I told President Griggs, one of my goals is to own Southeast South Dakota. In other words, if there's a business, we have a graduate there. We just got a glowing letter from Dan Marnock, who is the head of IT at the Vera Heart Hospital. I'm sure you're familiar with the building. There's actually 2 heart hospitals combined. All their IT is run by 2 of our graduates. So we want to have it so if you throw a dart at a radius of Sioux Falls, we have a graduate there, and they're working. And salaries? Right now, as you can see, 40 to 48 starting. We've had as high as 67 starting right out of school. Actually, before this last semester started, I had a student come up to me and goes, can I switch to night classes? I go, oh, did you get a job? He goes, yeah, I got a job at a hospital in town here. So he's only finished 1 year of school, starting his 2nd year. I go, well, do they pay you pretty good? And he goes, yes. I go, north of 40? He goes, yes. He was smiling. I go, north of 50? He goes, yes. So he had 1 year in, and he's making $51,000, and he wanted to take night classes so he could make $51,000 and join that night cohort and finish his degree. But that's a typical starting salary for our students.
Our current statistics, we actually have a real strong 4 cohorts. So we've got about almost 100 students currently enrolled, and that's our first year students. Second year, about 60. So our department is quite large, and we're growing every day. Here's a few pictures actually of our lab environment. Some of the students, we'll just kind of page through these very quickly.
Some of our classes are project-based driven where the students will actually come up and kind of take control. I'll give them the assignment, they'll come up, they'll kind of do some of the organization and say, all right, team, here's what we got to do today.
Again, everything is hands-on. Do you have any questions for us? Yes.
Is there, you were talking about cyber or security and so forth, is there any cross-training, like with we had the academic department of the police security department a few months ago here talk, do you do any cross-training with the police training students or anything like that?
No.
No, I have asked the police department to come out and maybe go over some forensics, and they didn't really want to because maybe there's some trade secrets that they don't want to have out there.
And then with high school, we're trying to gear up in the high schools now to provide more computer classes. It looks like, have we been in contact with Southeast Tech regarding that to see if there's any way we can help these students maybe get some more classes in high school so then we come here, we can shorten the time frame at Southeast Tech? Or
Yeah, that's very interesting you asked that. And what most high schools do is they'll teach a computer class, they'll do Microsoft Office, which is really nothing to do with us at all. We would love to see the high schools do more of that. CTE actually teaches a hardware class, and Dr. Peters and I have been working on getting it so that when they come to Southeast Tech, my class that I teach is 4 credits, that when they come to Southeast Tech, that 4 credits is already done. We also have one called Intro to Networking that I teach, which is another 4 credits. And if we can work with the school district where they could do that, they could essentially just come up the hill and have 8 credits done already. But most of the computer classes you see in high school really aren't anything to do with networking.
yeah, more of the Java.
It would be nice. We
Programming.
would love that.
Yeah.
I noticed in your pictures that they're very male-dominated.
Yes.
So, do you have any strategies around trying to make that more diverse? Not just from a male-female, but even I think there was a lot of just the normal kind of Caucasian male. Is there any, what kind of recruiting do you guys do for your students, or do you not really have to because they come to you?
Our marketing department does a pretty good job. Actually, they do tailor a lot of our commercials and our ads towards different diversities, you know, and we're seeing actually a lot more female students and ESL students come to us.
Awesome. Yeah, and I liked, I was looking at the list of names on the advisory board, and I think what I liked the most about it is it's healthcare, it's retail, it's, I mean, you had educational places, so it's obvious that all those places have IT things, networks that need to be addressed, but it's nice to have all those different faces to kind of bring you the up and coming and the current, whatever the next hot topic might be, so you guys can be prepared and stay cutting edge. So
Yeah, absolutely.
good people to work with.
Any other questions?
Good work. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, can I get we've got another group, sorry.
Okay, we're here again to continue on with this. We're all the CIS department. They're kind of breaking out a little bit between IT and CIS. We're going to be concentrating on the programming side. My name is Roger Morris. I've been teaching going on 21 years, going into the 21st year. Have 34 years experience in the field working at different places before I started teaching.
And good afternoon, President Parker and members of the board. My name is Cindy Robert. I'm the other full-time instructor in computer programming. And as you can imagine, I've seen a lot of changes since I started in 1991. Dakota State graduate, did have a programming experience in Brookings. So it's a wonderful field to be in. We'll have an alumni talking to you towards the end of our presentation.
We also have 4 part-time instructors, which are there. Gary is actually a retired full-time instructor, has gone part-time. So one of the things I want to kind of point out, we don't have anything that we can visually see as far as programming goes. You see the results of the program. So you see a web page, and I have it back there in the background. You'll see that what we see as a web page is a bunch of code. And so that's the distinguishing aspect of us is we have a different perspective on everything that we see. Everything that you do, including phones or even the PowerPoint presentation, is all a program somebody has written at one point or another. We have the one-year diploma, which is software support specialist. We also have the computer programmer, which is a 2-year AAS degree, and a computer programming online degree as well. We concentrate on the languages that you see up here. We also will teach other languages as well as I go through the curriculum, but these are the ones we concentrate on, as well as the database software as well. Our advisory board that helps set our curriculum is up here. One thing that I can add to this list is that Blend Interactive is going to be joining our advisory board as well, so it's always adding to and changing around just to make sure that we have current and keeping it updated to as much as we can. And the same thing goes with our advisory board. They help set our curriculum. So we are teaching the up-to-date stuff we need to for the community. Software titles or programming titles. They go by several different things. I like to put Dilbert up there. He's probably one of the best known programmers around, if you didn't know so. Dilbert is a software engineer who technically is a computer programmer. So it's kind of a nice thing to kind of see. They actually have a cartoon following us in the programming field.
All right, so just a little bit about our career opportunities. The Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts that 30% growth in software development and application career between, let's say, within the next 10 years, with a median salary of over $100,000. As far as our grads and placements, last year we did place 100%, and the average starting was about $35,000. The highest salary that we've had was $54,000, and that was a pretty good one. Some of our employers, of course, we could have had 10 more slides over the years to add to this slide. Wonderful support system, wonderful. They accept our students. Our students can compete with four-year graduates when they start working. These employers not only are looking for students after they graduate, but in our computer programming degree, we have an internship opportunity for students to work approximately 20, sometimes more hours per week during a semester. It's a wonderful opportunity for both the employer and the student to get their foot in that door, which can be difficult to do sometimes. And I think over the years, these employers are very pleased that they can be productive going into that. We've had students get internships even their first year or in the summer between their first and second year. The type of skills that are advantageous for students and help them to be more successful in this career, patience, problem solving, logical thinking. They have to be good communicators. I know sometimes there's a stereotype that all they do is sit in a corner in front of a computer and type code all day. But one, they are communicating to the computer with very detail-oriented instructions. You miss a semicolon or a punctuation mark, and your code isn't going to work. So do you throw it out the window and start over, or just persevere? So they really do need to be patient and persistent, detail-oriented, and good communicators. And then, oh my goodness, they certainly in our field have to continue their education. It's a lifelong learning, for sure. Things change almost daily sometimes, it seems like, in the technical fields. Student data, this is one of the things that I love about teaching in a technical school, is the variety of students that we have in our classroom. And not only, certainly, we hope that they learn from us, people standing in front of them, but they can learn so much from each other. When we have students ranging from age of 16 to 60s, those people bring a lot of lifelong experiences with them that they can share. Austin, for example, is 17, and he knew right away he wanted to do this as a career. We have our online program, and we're seeing more of women and young women get into our field, I think, through the online opportunity, because I think a lot of them have full-time jobs, their wives, their kids, and they just can't find the time to do it during the day. So she's actually from Virginia, and she's getting her degree online. Michael, as I mentioned, one of our older students, was just kind of brushing up on some of the skills that he hadn't been using for a while. We have students who come to us with other degrees, not just tech schools, high schools, but sometimes masters, and they want a different career, or they want to supplement their career. The enrollment numbers, our online numbers, doubled from 2015 to 16 to this past year. It's been crazy, exciting. Our traditional numbers are also improving. I would say that typically, yes, the majority of our students are going to be young males, either out of high school or, relatively, maybe within a couple years out of high school. But we see more and more students coming from other countries. That does present some challenges sometimes with language as a second, English as a second language, but good opportunities. Again, wonderful experiences that they can share with other students. So now I would like to present to you the board on President Parker, one of our alumni, Chris Jones, and he can give you maybe a little bit of information about what he experienced at Southeast Tech. Thank you.
Evening. I graduated in 2009 with a computer programming degree from Southeast Tech, and then I re-enrolled right away because at that time, Hutchinson, Daktronics, and a bunch of other places just fired off most of our programming staff. And I knew me, with my background of military experience of a diesel mechanic and then a 2-year degree of programming, probably was in for a hard fight. So I went back for a degree in digital media production and graduated with that in 2011. When I was there, Southeast Tech actually asked me to start teaching. So I've been teaching at Southeast now as an adjunct for 8-9 years. Programming, and I also taught in the digital media as well. Since then, I've worked at a couple different places here in town. Presenter Media, they make a bunch of clip art and PowerPoint. I was one of the experimental programmers, I guess you can call it there. So I was making all the new leading edge technology they were using, as well as starting to do some server side stuff with the networking side of things as well. Since then, I worked for a small game studio, and I enjoyed that one. They actually got their game out in a large platform, Steam, and we enjoyed that success until a collapse of the internal department itself. The owner of it just did not know where to go anymore. So at that time, I actually left and started my own with a friend of mine, and we make mobile apps now, and we play around with that kind of on our side business. And then I'm also a assistant technology coordinator out at Brandon Valley School District. So the interesting thing there is I found out today is I've graduated from Southeast Tech, and the other 3 assistant coordinators we have actually graduated from Southeast Tech as well. Was one with a programming degree and another one with a networking degree, so that makes us 3. The lead one's actually from, I believe, SDSU. So, but that's quick and dirty of what I've been doing. So, thank you guys.
Okay.
Any questions for us?
Any questions? Yeah. Well, I'd like to thank you all for coming today and giving us a little snapshot of what it is you all do and the impact you have on our community. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
All right. Can I get a motion and a second for the academic program overview report, please?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, moving on.
President Parker, members of the board, our next presentation is actually going to be about a couple areas. It's our futures team as well as their role in the strategic plan. So I introduce Ms. Beth Capping.
President Parker, member of the board, thank you for having me today. Like you said, my name is Beth Cassing. I'm a civil engineering technology instructor and a member of the futures team. As part of the futures team, one of our main goals is to monitor the strategic plan. And so today I just wanted to give you a brief update on where we're at. So just to review, our strategic plan is based on 4 pillars, and the foundation for that implementation is the committees, the new committee structure that we've kind of implemented, training, SPOL, which is planning software, and then evaluation. And the 4 pillars, pillar 1 is leadership and management, which includes internal communications, student experience and retention, institutional planning and excellence. Pillar 2, marketing and recruitment, which is advocates and influencers, campaign development and management, and coordinated messaging. Pillar 3, programs and partnerships, which is relationship building, program development, and coordinated messaging, particularly articulation agreements. Pillar 4 is programs and partnerships, legislation and policy, grants and philanthropy, and resource campaign. So as the futures team, our job is to oversee how this is being implemented. So the futures team has committee members that are assigned to each of the pillars to help make sure that that they're being implemented, and then they provide reports to the team. So here's just kind of a timeline. So in the fall of 2016, we received approval of the strategic plan. And then in spring of 2017, all of the pillars were assigned to committees, teams, or work groups. And we began the implementation process. And we requested approval for purchasing software, which is SPOL. And we were hoping that we would have that software soon so that we could start using this to track how we're doing. At this point, we still do not have the software, and so we've had to kind of come up with some other methods for tracking until that approval goes through. In the summer of 2017, we held a leadership training for all of the chairs and the co-chairs. And then at that, we determined that maybe some of the committees needed to be restructured and reorganized. So that was done, and then we created a tracking spreadsheet. This fall, we initiated goal target development through the committee teams and work groups. So each of those committees were designated or tasked with coming up with goals. And then it was pretty evident early in the fall that most employees weren't really familiar with the strategic plan. So we came up with a plan of training by doing an overall training of the strategic plan in our November monthly meeting, and then each pillar will be addressed at each additional monthly meeting. Also, the committees will report out at monthly meetings, and in their committee report, they will need to tie how they are related to the strategic plan. And then there's also a reporting schedule for each of those committees, so they will have to report to the futures team and to the Tech Council, and ultimately, in the future, possibly to you. Then at Christmas, we held a biannual leadership training, where again, we brought together all of the committee chairs and co-chairs, and we kind of evaluated how things were going. And then we had them go in and look at their goals in the strategic plan and evaluate if that's what they've been working on. So just a couple terms that we've come up with were the strategic plan goals, which are actually set in the strategic plan. Then they all have to give us targets for years that they're working on towards the strategic plan, and then actions, which are the actual activities or tasks that we can measure. And this is the spreadsheet that has been developed. And again, we're hoping that our SPOL software will come through so that it'll be a little easier tracking. But for now, this is what we're working on. So you can just see that there's the goal of the strategic plan, and then the committees also have goals related to that. And then they have to tell us the target So it could be what percentage in each year of the plan that they're hoping to fulfill that. And then underneath each of those goals, we also have actions. And in the actions, they have to tell us whether they've been started, completed, or not started yet, when they're planning on starting those. So currently, after our leadership training, all of those chairs and co-chairs went back to their committees, and they have until March 1st to really evaluate their goals for this year and their targets and actions. And then at that time, the Futures Committee will look at all of that data and make sure that each part of the strategic plan is being covered by somebody and evaluating exactly where we're at. Then this summer, we'll update this spreadsheet and hopefully maybe start to use the planning software. Are there any questions?
So, to go back, what's going on? What's with this bowl? Why is it? What's the holdup? I guess.
Okay, so I'm going to say this, and then these guys are going to jump in. So I believe that. Okay.
It's a contract issue that
That's what I figured. Okay.
they basically are doing something they didn't say they were going to do.
Okay.
They said we were going to get something for this amount, and then after we agreed to that, they changed the rules. So
Okay.
we are basically making sure they're going to follow what they said the first time.
Gotcha. And then what you have currently, do you feel like it's at least adequate for the time being to
I
go
do.
forward? Yeah.
Yes, it took a long time to gather that information. I think Tracy and Craig and the administrators kind of worked together to gather that information, and we reviewed it several times. And after the committee members met, I think that they're now more on board and understand what they're supposed to be doing. And so I feel like it's a good tool until we can get.
I like what you had for the spreadsheet there. And what, is it a shared document area or where, so that team members, okay.
It is actually shared on SharePoint, and they actually have to put all of their strategic plan information on the top of the minutes in their agenda. So we've changed some of our report format. But anyway, so at the very top of the committee meeting minutes and agenda, their strategic plan goals have to be outlined, and they need to tell us like what year they're working on, which actions. So we could go into any of their documents and see exactly what committee is working on what.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Beth? Thank you, Beth, for the update.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve the Futures Committee report, please?
So move. Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, on to the next report.
President Parker, members of the board, I'm Tracy Nollner, Vice President of Student Affairs and Institutional Research. In this particular case, I'm more interested in the institutional research. That's always, enrollment is always a big deal to an IR person, as is retention. Today, we have two individuals who are going to give an update of where we are in terms of enrollment. So I'd like to introduce first Megan Fisher, who is our new Director of Admissions. Yay. Megan has now been with Southeast for
18 days.
Oh, 18 days. 18 days. So we're really glad to have her here. And she's already making some wonderful changes and looking for some new things that will help us. So we're really glad she's here. And we also have Christy Wortham's here. Christy is our registrar, and of course, a registrar is always working with enrollment. So they're going to give you the report on how we're doing as far as enrollments.
All right. Good afternoon, President Parker, members of the board. It's always fun to come and talk to you guys because it seems like I've been bringing you a lot of good news, and it's not stopping now. Just to let you know, classes start on Monday, January 8th, and then we do take a 10-day count snapshot on the 10th day. So on January 19th will be when we do that at the end of the day. That is the time that we allow the students to drop add, change their schedules, change their mind, change their majors, change everything. So. On this slide here, you can see that, again, if you look at October 31st, we moved that whole process up again. We've talked about this previously. We had our returning students, our current students, start registering a lot earlier so that we could start registering the new students earlier. So it was nice to see that by the end of November, we had already met almost half of our goal for the enrollment for the next semester. So we have as I look at this, I think just the students that I registered today, I know we have blown the 25,500 number out of the water. So we are looking right now from last year to today an 8% increase in enrollment over spring last year. And this will be a very busy next 2 days in our office, all the students remembering that they forgot to register. And so those are our credits. So that's the money, as Rich likes to say. And then the head count also, we're doing great on the head count. I feel like the students are taking a bigger load of classes. You can see that trend that sometimes you see a lot of the part-timers, but it seems like a lot of them are going for quite a few more credits than in previous. So our head count right now is 11% above where we were last semester. And that includes dual credit students, and we're getting a lot of those. And a lot of those dual credit students have already applied and been accepted for fall semester. So that's also encouraging too. So now I'd like to pass this over to Megan Fisher, and we are so fortunate to have Megan at Southeast Tech. Like Tracy said, she's already making some very good changes, and we're just fortunate to have her expertise at Southeast.
Thank you, Christy. President Parker and members of the board, thank you for your time today. Before I get started, I'd just like to say that I'm thrilled to be part of the Southeast Tech family, and I see a lot of opportunities. Obviously, there was increased enrollment last year, and I see opportunities to continue on that same path. And I should add, as I was preparing for this, I hope you find this information enlightening, because I certainly did as I was working on this presentation. So looking at applications 2015 through 2017, this first slide shows the history of the applications. And on July 31st, 2017, Southeast Tech was up 14 applications ahead of the previous year, and ultimately that resulted in the increased enrollment for fall 2017. This slide depicts the monthly applications for that same time frame. And the strategy, as Christy said, has been to move up the process, and we'll continue to look for best practices that will allow us to do that even better in the future. So we exceeded fall 16 counts during 4 of the 8 months, and it's important to emphasize the months were February, March, April, and May. And that definitely supports our move up the process tactic. So looking at fall 28 applications, obviously fall 2017 is the year to beat. And again, you can see that strategies will continue to help us keep the red line steady above last year. Now this slide of monthly application volume, again, emphasizes that strategy that's really been, I can tell that the team that I have the privilege to work with in the admissions office, I mean, this has been hammered into them. And, that's one of the things moving into a new role. You get to know your team a little bit, and I'm thrilled with the people we have on the front lines. We're very fortunate to have all of them. And so they're all about continuing to move up this process. And you can see that the first half of the year, what we kind of want to see in an enrollment funnel when you're dealing with different markets, the high school market versus the adult students in the non-traditional market, is we want to get those high school students committed. Make their decisions early, get them to the AARs, get them registered, make them Southeast Tech students. And oftentimes, we deal with non-traditional students throughout the enrollment, throughout the entire year, but if we can get those high school students to commit earlier, what that allows us to do, non-traditional students oftentimes don't make up their mind until maybe a month before the school year starts. Then they decide that, hey, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go back to school, or I'm going to get that first degree that I've always wanted to get. And so those are the ones we want to deal with in the summer, not those high school students. So looking at fall 2018 applications, you can see the numbers comparing December 31st, 16 to December 31st, 17. So we are up 241 applications, or 19%. Looking at admitted numbers now for 2015 through the 17. If you look at the 2017 line, the green line, you can see that there's that spike in March. And I'm sure that Christy and Jackie Danielson probably shared with you that the decision was made to change the policy to move the matriculation fee deeper into the funnel. So as students are applying, we're not asking them for that fee right up front. We're getting them to the admitted stage, and then when we invite them to the AAR, then they're paying the fee and becoming registered and committing to Southeast Tech. And so that's why you see that significant jump in March. And if you follow that green line, you know, what I've been told is we kind of thought that, you know, we just weren't sure if it was going to level out, but then we got that great boost in August, and so we hope that continues. So the monthly admitted breakdown for that same time frame, as you can see, that spike in March, 330 students were admitted last March, and that was the highest monthly count at Southeast Tech since 2008. That's pretty phenomenal, and for me, that just means a lot of great opportunities ahead for us, so I'm very excited about that. In our fall 2018, if there's one slide to really pay close attention to today, this is the one. You can see that we're currently tracking ahead of fall 2017 numbers. Okay, good. So the monthly admitted volume will continue to shift the admits earlier in the enrollment cycle like we've talked about. And so what we'll see is we'll have a larger pool of admitted students earlier in the funnel, and hopefully we'll have to focus on fewer admits in July and August. And our final slide here shows the comparison in numbers between last December 2016 to December 2017. And you can see that for numbers, we're up 183 admitted students, or 46% increase, which again is a phenomenal opportunity for us. So on behalf of Christy and myself, thank you for your time. And at this time, we would welcome any questions you may have for us. Any questions?
No, Christy, you can come anytime we got good news, and welcome.
Thank you.
I'll bring Megan along.
Yep,
All right,
you guys
hope
keep
we can
coming.
continue to keep the good news coming. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, last year we were looking at the numbers and saying, wow, things have improved so much. And now you look at the red line is above where we were so impressed with last year. So I echo your sentiments of saying we have some really great things going on and some really great things to continue. And I think overall we have a really big push looking at our high school students and how can we get more of them into post-secondary education. And so, yes, if we can get some of them to know in March, in April, and in May at graduation, I'm going to Southeast Tech.
Right.
That's a win for us as a K-12, but it's a huge win for our students too, to feel like there's someplace that they can go and get a great education and have a really good living after they're done too.
Oh,
So-
definitely. And for our workforce, the employers out there who need our grads. And I would just say, you know, I mentioned the admissions team that I get to work with on a daily basis, but I know that this has been a campus-wide effort of faculty and everyone kind of changing the culture so everyone's got enrollment top of mind, and I think that's a definite positive.
The work is showing off for sure. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, can I get a motion to approve the enrollment report, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, moving on. Sorry,
President Parker.
we know it's not you.
Members of the board,
Something up
Jim
there.
Jacobson, Vice President of Academics, and no, I hope it's not me. That's a tough report to follow. We want to commend the entire campus, as Megan said, for the hard work. It really has been a team effort. I would like to update you on some activity that's happened at the South Dakota Board of Technical Education. On December 15th, 2017, Southeast Tech had a number of academic agenda items at that meeting, and I'd like to update you on what happened during that meeting. As you know, we've given you a number of reports on a proposed vet tech program that we've been working on. And at that meeting, we had our veterinary assistant diploma and veterinary technician associates in applied science degrees approved by the Board of Technical Education. That's really great news. I really want to recognize Dr. Peters and Lon Hurd, as well as a number of other individuals, actually some team members from Globe, for the help that they've done as we put that prospectus together to bring that program forward. However, at this point, we have that on the books to start those two programs, but right now we do need significant financial assistance from either the state or industry to start that program. I believe we've shared with you that we worked with Representative Mickelson to submit a future funds proposal to the governor. We have not heard on that. To start this program, we're looking at about a $2 million budget to just get the program started. We worked with Jeff Kreider and his team to design space. We identified space in the Wood Center. We have space that we could remodel for about half of the program. And so Jeff and his team, we would have to do an addition to have enough space for that. That cost was about $1.3 million for that. And then we want our program to be accredited by the American Veterinary Medical Association. We want our graduates to be able to sit for their national boards. That's what employers have told us is important. And we have $186,000 in required equipment to outfit the program to meet those requirements. So we're really looking at about a $1.5 million budget to get the program started. That's without hiring staff and faculty for that program. So we'll continue to work through that process. We had a really good meeting with the South Dakota Secretary of Agriculture right before the holiday break. He gave us several good ideas, but I think the exciting thing that we walked away from, he was really supportive of the program, that the state and the region needs this program with Globe closing there. So we'll continue to work through that. We also had a request to reinstate a program. We previously had offered an accounting clerk diploma program, and we wanted to bring that program back, but we also wanted to do a name change, and we wanted to change the name to accounting clerk diploma program. Those two pieces of business were approved by the board. That name change was based on input from our faculty and our advisory committee for our accounting program and business programs. And one thing we've heard through our sector breakfasts is two main themes that we've shared with you. Industry loves our graduates, and they want more of them. But kind of a third sub-theme has been, how can they get our graduates sooner into the workplace? And so that's the response that our accounting faculty did. They said, let's bring that one-year diploma back so that we can get folks into industry quicker and help meet the need. And then we had two health programs that submitted name changes. We had our vascular ultrasound technology program requested that their program name be changed to vascular sonography, and that cardiac ultrasound technology be changed to cardiac sonography. And that was based on, again, input from industry and their advisory boards, and those two name changes were approved. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
Good report. I suppose the question would be, anybody have any idea how we could put pressure on the Speaker of the House to get more funding? Cynthia, any
Conflict
thoughts
of interest.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's good stuff. We've got a challenge. I mean, and I kid a little bit, but when we look at the revenue reports that we're getting for the state from this last year, the numbers don't look good. However, we have to look at it, I think, and the staff at STI has done a great job. Administration has done a great job. We have a workforce issue that we need to address. And one of the ways that we're going to be able to address that is with more programs available to do a better job of educating our students. And the Vet Tech program is one of those steps that I think we need to look at every potential resource that we can find to try and bring that new program to STI so that the momentum that was there from Globe doesn't get lost. So whatever we can do as a board to help, we certainly will do.
A couple of additional comments. You know, as we work through this program, you know, this is one program that we're just really confident there are students out there that are interested in it. And we really built the curriculum to really address a couple industry needs. The diploma program is really geared to serve the small animal vets, and the the degree option is really, we put more of an emphasis on large and production agriculture, but we also embedded a couple courses that would support lab technology for the research centers. So I think we feel like there are students out there. The other comment I'd like to share with you is that we need to get in the ag business. Our horticulture programs are the closest thing we have to supporting agriculture. This would be an excellent foot in the door for us to start in some type of ag programming, and the Secretary of Agriculture really reaffirmed that for us.
What other outreach are we planning on doing then to try to get some community support funding?
Well, we have our capital campaign going, and certainly that's an option. And just that presence in the community, I think, is going to increased awareness about the great work that we do to support workforce development throughout the region. Our administrative team would welcome any additional ideas you have. If you have the ability to write a large check, we'd accept it.
Get right on that. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks.
Yeah, I echo, what you said, Kent. I mean, we're responding to a need in the community, and I think that's what STI has shown that we do best, is, even just changing the vascular ultrasound to vascular sonography. I mean, it's what the new terminology needs, and that's what we need to bring in students, right? So, we're trying to work quickly to meet those needs. So, any other discussion? Okay, can I get a motion and a second to approve the State Board of Technical Education update report?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, looks like we have
President Parker,
one more report.
Board members, I was just going to update you. Today was our first day. The faculty returned for the spring semester, and so we had a great startup and a lot of good work that's been done by our committees in terms of pulling together the activities for today. But I did want to mention, I think last year at the startup, we were going back a year in time and saying, here's where we were a year ago, and certainly a number of challenges, and we've worked through many of those, and we still have many to move forward and hopefully move through as well. But one thing I wanted to point out was that we talked about, when I addressed the campus, I talked about somewhat jokingly in terms of saying that just like in real estate, when they talk about the importance of sales, it's location, location, location. Well, right now, unless we address enrollment, we're going to have a continued cycle of deficits and reductions, and that's been, unfortunately, the environment on campus for 5 long years. And so it was really encouraging this year to say different priorities. So instead of just enrollment, and I just wanted to share those with you. I talked about the need, obviously, to continue to focus and improve our enrollment numbers, and we're so excited and thrilled to have Megan Fisher, join Southeast Tech, and her experience that she's garnered through different similar University of Sioux Falls and at SDSU is going to help us immensely. It already has, in terms of having a fresh set of eyes come in and look at what we're doing, and some of that self-examination not only within that area, but others areas that work with admissions as well. So great addition to the team there. Christy Vorthrams has done an outstanding job as registrar, and she keeps so many balls in the air. I don't know how she does it, to be quite honest, but an incredible job there, leading a quite extensive effort with our student success team as well, our student success counselors. And one point, we talked a lot about increasing enrollment. The second bullet that I brought up was improving retention, that we're putting a lot of emphasis on enrollment, but unless we really focus on helping those students once they're on campus, and each of them is different. Each of them brings unique challenges in terms of what they're experiencing in their life and what they want to accomplish, and how we can help them. And we have done a wonderful job. I think that was evidenced last year by the National Noah Levitz Retention Excellence Award. And I just wanted to point out at the last State Board of Technical Education meeting, retention was a topic of discussion. It was one of their agenda items. And Southeast Tech improved from 71% from 2016 to 74% retention rate in 2017. So it's small, but that is hugely significant in terms of the retention rule. If you talk with other institutions to say we've improved retention by 3%, that does not happen unless there's a lot of effort. Again, our student success counselors, our faculty that you see here and you've met or had the opportunity to visit with, are front line on that, working with those students and helping them through the challenges and so forth. So a lot of positive things there. I also talked about the need, a third bullet being enhancing communication and governance, and you're seeing some of that in terms of what we're doing on campus, changing our administrative structure. Lon Hurd and I are going to be out on, if we're doing our job, Lon and I are, with Shelley Unruh, are going to be out visiting with a number of different individuals. And we talked about vet tech, but the Secretary of Agriculture had some wonderful ideas about who we need to get out and start shaking hands with. And honestly, I think that's what we've got to do, to tell more people about this opportunity, to see if we can't garner some support, because what I've been told is I think the governor would look at our request more favorably if we have more private dollars invested along with Southeast Tech, and then hopefully the state as well. And then finally, the fourth bullet, and it's something that we've worked hard on this last year, has been expanding partnerships and collaboration. And we're just getting started there. It was great. Many of you came out right before Christmas break when we had Dakota State University on campus, and we announced the PASS program, the launch of that program. And these individuals that you see here in front of you that were here this afternoon are front and center on Southeast Tech's effort as part of and a partner with Dakota State University, and then also CTE Academy, because they're kind of the linchpin working with CTE to build those transferable pathways. And in order for the PASS program to work, we have to have those connections between CTE Academy to Southeast Tech, and then on hopefully to Dakota State. And so while much work remains to be done there, I think we're off to a great start, and they're doing a fantastic job as well. So I just want to give you a quick summary of some of the initiatives that I spoke to the campus about, and I think if we can move beyond just enrollment to also focusing on retention and communication and our governance structure, and then also outreach and partnership, hopefully we'll have more good news as we continue to report out in the future. So thank you.
Great.
Thank you. All right, anything else for the good of the order? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.